Good morning to you, Grenada. It's a Monday morning under cloudy skies. Thank you so much for joining us. Got a lot cooking here this morning, so let's get right into it. We're going to begin with some words of encouragement to start not only this day, but this week as well. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken, nor my covenant of peace be removed, says the Lord, who has compassion on you. That reading, my dear friends, comes to you from Isaiah 54, verses 10, or verse 10, I should say. Now, let's get right down to business. This morning, we're going to take a look at some comments that were made on yesterday's edition of Sundays with George Grant. And in addition to that, we will be hearing from the Grenada Community Library as we do every Monday morning. Then we have the National Report coming your way at about 9:15 or so. And then she's back in town, my dear friends. Yes, she is back. We're going to be checking in with Beverly Sinclair. Okay? First of all, attorney at law Jerry Edwin, a self-professed supporter of the Caribbean Court of Justice, visited Grenada Broadcast yesterday, Sunday, to share his thoughts about Grenada joining the appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice. Now, while he, like many other Grenadians, would like to see Grenada adopt the CCJ, there are emerging issues which he feels must be addressed. One of which is his belief that the campaign to obtain a yes vote is littered with untruths. Let me pull that up here for you, my dear friends.
I want to start with the idea put forward by the proponents of the CCJ that the adoption of this court somehow changes the matrix of our development as an island nation. That somehow going to the CCJ ushers in a brand new day as the debate in the one-sided debate in Parliament stated, it's a step in Grenada's national development if we adopt this court, the CCJ. I want to start with quoting the Ghanaian revolutionary leader, Amilcar Cabral. He says, "Tell no lies and claim no easy victories." I think the campaign to ensure a yes vote falls far short of what Cabral's warning to the newly developed countries of Africa was in the 1960s. We have a campaign that is littered with untruths. Now, the job of a politician is to persuade, George. That's their stock in trade. But a political campaign is not the place to get full disclosure on any issue. You're not going to get it there. So the campaign for the adoption of the CCJ has omitted critical factors, I think, that will lead the electorate to make an informed decision about this court. Yes, in theory, I fully support the court. But what I support more than anything else, George, is a transparent system.
Now, Mr. Edwin also questioned the reason why Trinidad and Tobago, as well as Jamaica, have abstained from joining the CCJ's appellate jurisdiction.
If you have the heads of government determining the salaries of judges at the CCJ, that is a bad court. I think Grenada is in a unique position because Trinidad, with the most dynamic economy in the Caribbean, the biggest economy, and Jamaica, with the largest population, they are not going along with the CCJ. I'm asking myself why. They are good lawyers. Their societies are more mature in terms of their structure than we are. That's an objective fact. It doesn't mean we are less than anybody in the world. Why haven't they adopted the CCJ? I want to give you my opinion. To pass protocols, and we can get to protocols in a minute, later on as we speak, George, to pass a protocol or to amend a part of the CCJ requires a two-thirds majority. Two-thirds majority. There are 12 members of CARICOM at present. 4 of those members are already have already acceded to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ. That leaves 8. Of the 8 persons who are the 8 heads of government, the 8 countries who remain, 6 of them are in the OECS. I should say 5 because Dominica is already there. 5. With the prerogatives of the heads of government to amend the law or to enact new protocols, which require a two-thirds majority. The heads of government of the OECS control the court. The heads of government of the OECS actually control the decision-making apparatus of the CCJ. I think that gives the people, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, which is the economic center of CARICOM, and Jamaica, it gives them pause. Gives them pause.
Now, the outspoken attorney is not at all pleased that it appears that the Grenada Bar Association has thrown its support behind the yes vote, rather than performing the educational role which is needed.
Oh, I could understand the government not wanting to go through the kind of forensic exercise that lawyers would go through in bringing to the public information about a bill. And let me say that I think the Bar Association is making a huge mistake by placing its check mark on the yes vote. I don't think that's the role of the Bar Association. I think it's the role of lawyers as individuals, but the Bar Association should have gone through this bill, gone through the CCJ Act, and highlighted, because these people know much more than I do, much more experienced lawyers than I am, George. And I mean that seriously. That they should have gone through this, look at the bill, look at the agreement, see where the issues are, and educate people. Or if they want to do it quietly, go to the government and say, listen, you've made a mistake. The CCJ Act says that the court in its appellate jurisdiction will not hear any cases less than $25,000 in value. In your bill, which is going to be argued before the parliament, you say it's $1,500. You've made a mistake. But the bar has acceded to the will of the government. And they have checked the yes column and are therefore unable to perform their education function to the people of Grenada. I think that's a mistake.
Mr. Edwin is of the opinion that the wrong people are the ones telling us about the CCJ. Rather, he feels that those educating us should be persons who have experienced the CCJ?
I think we ought to have a conversation, and I suggested that, and I'm just a little voice, that the people who ought to be telling us about the CCJ should not be political leaders. It should be the people who have gone before the court and have experienced it, have been before the judge, and better yet, if they've been to the Privy Council, come to Grenada and educate us. Tell us, give us your observations. Where do you think there are weaknesses in the CCJ? It's a young court. Where do you think we ought to have a more transparent system? Are you satisfied that the way judges are selected by the commission is the best way to choose the judges for the highest court in the land? There is no redress from the Privy Council when you're done. There is no redress from the CCJ when you are done. Debunk the idea in the bill that if you have a $1,500 case, you can get to the CCJ. Folks, you cannot. But it's in the Grenada bill.
Okie doke, folks. That's Jerry Edwin as he appeared on yesterday's edition of Sundays with George Grant. Now, for the past 2 weeks or so, we've been bringing you a segment every Monday morning from the Grenada Community Library. And right now, I would like you to listen to this week's edition.
Brought to you by the Grenada Community Library. Welcome to the Caribbean Literature Quote of the Week. The world is what it is. Men who are nothing, who allow themselves to become nothing, have no place in it. From the fiction book, A Bend in the River by V.S. Nepal. It is available in the George Parfit Caribbean Collection at the Grenada Community Library, number 7, Lucas Street, St. George. V.S. Nepal was a Trinidadian writer of the Indian descent, best known for novels. A House for Mr. Biswas, 1961, A Bend in the River, 1979, and Away in the World, 1994. His novels, set in developing countries, are known for their pessimistic and cynical tone, often referred to as suppressed histories. He received the Nobel Prize in 2001 for his novel, Half Alive, a story about an Indian immigrant to England and Africa. He also wrote several works of nonfiction, including An Area of Darkness, 1965, India, A Wounded Civilization, 1977, and Among the Believers, An Islamic Journey, 1981, as well as travel writing and several essays. He was knighted in 1989. With thanks for the kind cooperation of George Grant and GRENADABROADCAST.com, we invite you to listen every week. Find us online, share and spread the wealth and worth of our literature and authors. Please come and visit the Grenada Community Library to borrow these great books for free.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
So, babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Easy living should be convenient. With Grenneck, it is. Dial 237 for any Grenneck department, or for customer service, streetlight outages, or if it's unsafe to trim a tree near a power line. For streetlights and service issues, please note the pole number. From just about anywhere, you can also check your bill balance and other account information. Just keep your Grenneck access number handy. Dial 237 for Grenneck. It's that easy. Grenneck, energizing our Grenada.
Grenada Market has now introduced prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmeg, Bourbon-Day and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
If you wanna check the grand like balance on your phone, or report a faulty line near your home, if there is an emergency, take out your phone. These are 3 numbers that you should know. 237. Call me anytime, I'm always on the line. 237. Just call me anytime, I'm always on the line. 237.
Well, folks, it's now, let's see here, 18 and a half minutes after 9 o'clock. And for whatever reason, the GIS and their national report, that ain't coming up this morning. So we're going to try and get directly to Beverly. But I just had Beverly on the line here. And I noticed for whatever reason, she seems to have vanished. So one of those mornings, but as always, we're going to get through it. In the meantime, let's take another little break here, and we'll get back to Beverly.
Professional indemnity. The reliability and weight. We still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
When a hurricane watch or warning is in effect, act quickly. Listen to the media for official information. Set your refrigerator to the coldest temperature to help food last longer. Move electrical devices from areas where they may get wet. During a hurricane, stay indoors. Be mindful that you may lose power and keep listening to the media. Unplug all electrical devices and take off your main switch. This will reduce the potential for damage or fire. Avoid opening refrigerators and freezers, as food will thaw more quickly. Assume all wires are energized and stay away from them. In the event of island-wide damage, GRENADAB will restore power to critical facilities first. These include hospitals, police, fire departments, and water supply pumps. For more information, please visit us at grenlec.com.
All right, as we await Beverly, I know that Beverly's there. I can still see her up on Zoom there, but she's probably just stepped out for a minute because she was thinking that we were going to run the national report from the GIS. Now, in the meantime, as we wait on her to return, just let me say that for those of you who may have missed yesterday's edition of Sundays with George Grant, I do urge you to either go to Facebook or YouTube. It's up on both of those sites. It was also live on the other 4 platforms that carry us. And it was a very interesting program. Yesterday afternoon, after we were through with the program, I went out with my good buddy Ricardo Keynes Douglas. We went down to Grand Anse to have a little lunch, if you will, and we were talking about it, and he was talking about how dynamic that program was yesterday. A lot of interesting stuff came out about the CCJ, and I think it is stuff that you really, probably because you have not heard it before, you ought to hear it now. And it looks like between now and the 6th of November, which has been designated as Referendum Day, there's going to be a lot of stuff emerging about the CCJ, things that you just have not heard so far. This afternoon, as we have for the last 3 Mondays, we have had a couple members of the CCJ Advisory Committee coming in here, and we've actually been running those broadcasts live, and I am not yet sure that they will be, because I know that one of the parties, Ruggles Ferguson, is actually due back in Grenada sometime today. He has been joined, except for last week, he's been joined by Dr. Francis Alexis, who's also a member of the CCJ's Advisory Council. And obviously, they're pushing the yes vote, and that's great. They, in spite of what Mr. Edwin said just a few minutes ago, he's saying that, you know, people, essentially, we got the wrong people pushing the CCJ. It should be pushed by people who have experienced the CCJ. Well, Ruggles and Francis, let me tell you, you're going to be hearing an awful lot of them, because I have made it clear that they have access to this facility anytime they want. I believe that all the great things about the CCJ ought to be touted, because I'll tell you, I do believe, this is not scientific, but I do believe that the majority of people in Grenada would like to see the CCJ become a reality. They'd like to see us ascend to the appellate jurisdiction, if you will. But I think it's also very important that we listen to the concerns that they have. Think back for a minute to the November referendum back in 2016. People voted a big thumbs down to the CCJ. And again, you know what? Even then, I don't think it was because they were anti-CCJ. I just think it was a matter of them having a lot of questions which they felt were not being answered the way they wanted them answered, you know. I'm not sure if the same thing's continuing right now, because from what I'm hearing, people are still saying they need to be educated. Well, you know, how much education do you need? Huh? These guys have been pumping and pumping and pumping information about the CCJ, and I'll give you a couple of examples. One, there have been some decisions handed down by the court which I think have created a heck of an impact on the regional judicial system, okay? Very impressive judgments. On top of that, they have been raising the point that it's a lot more accessible than the Privy Council. Well, maybe so, but in recent days, I have heard that the CCJ may not necessarily be more accessible in terms of cost than the Privy Council. If you heard yesterday's program, you probably heard that being raised as one of the points. Another impressive thing about the CCJ is that, believe it or not, we here in the Caribbean have a very technologically advanced court system called the Caribbean Court of Justice. A lot of that has to do with the fact that former President Dennis Byron was a bit of a technology fanatic, if you will, and he made sure that the court was really well advanced. However, for those of you who heard yesterday's program, you obviously learned that there are issues about the CCJ. There are things about the CCJ that for whatever reason you have not been told. And I think a lot of eyes are opening up. And I can guarantee you that the Advisory Council is going to have to work very hard to combat those concerns that are now coming to the forefront, that are now emerging. So, there we go. It's coming up on 9:30. I still don't see Beverly. There's her little thingy on Zoom, but for whatever reason, she is not showing up. I'm not seeing her. So we're going to have to assume that something probably popped up. I saw her a little all decked off, by the way, this morning. Because for the first time on this program, you'll be able to see her. So you can imagine, well, so much for Beverly this morning. But I'm going to say a big thank you to those of you who joined us on today's edition of Gudday Grenada. And I do hope that you'll be back with us tomorrow morning for another edition. Oh, by the way, just one more comment I want to make here. There's a gentleman who's been working with us on IT needs. Gentleman by the name of Keith Roberts. He's from the city or the town that never sleeps out there in Guave. And I'll tell you, he's lost a lot of sleep trying to help us to resolve some of the issues we've been having here and getting this broadcast out to you. I just want to say thank you very much, Mr. Roberts. Thank you very, very much. I do appreciate the long hours that you have worked. Thank you, sir, and God bless you. So, my dear friends, on that note, I'm going to say thanks again for joining us for today's edition of Gudday Grenada.